Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Australia records another 37 COVID-19 deaths as Victoria and Queensland ease mask rules. Victoria and NSW recorded 14 COVID-19 related deaths each. 5 people have died in Queensland and 3 in South Australia, while the Northern Territory has recorded 1 fatality. A further 37 COVID-19 related deaths have been recorded in Australia. Victoria and NSW both recorded 14 COVID-19 deaths. 5 people have died in Queensland and 3 in South Australia, while the Northern Territory has recorded 1 fatality. In NSW, where 8,752 new COVID-19 cases were recorded on Tuesday, there are 1,293 patients in hospitals across the state, 71 of which are in intensive care units. Victoria reported 6,786 new infections. There are 345 patients in Victorian hospitals, with 48 in ICU. Meanwhile, Victoria is easing indoor mask wearing and working from home rules and bringing back elective surgery under changes to COVID-19 pandemic health orders. The changes, including the removal of requirements for Victorians to work or study from home, come into effect from 11:59 p.m. on Friday, Health Minister Martin Foley said on Tuesday. Victorians have done such a great job getting vaccinated, so we're able to take safe steps to get more people to return to the office, he said. But masks will be required on public transport, in taxis and rideshares, on planes and in airports and at hospitals and care facilities. Queensland eases restrictions. Queensland will scrap face mask mandates in most indoor settings and density limits at most venues next week as its COVID-19 numbers continue a downward trend. The state recorded 5 COVID-19 deaths and 5,583 cases in the 24 hours to 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday. There are 380 patients in hospital and another 30 in intensive care, with 11 people on ventilation. Premier Annastacia Palaszczuk says with the outbreak dissipating, a face mask mandate and density limits can be eased from 6 p.m. on Friday, 4th March. Masks will no longer be required in most settings. You won't need them at work or in school or at the shops. Staff and patrons won't be required to wear them at cafes, pubs and restaurants, she told Parliament on Tuesday. Mr. Speaker, smiles are back. We can put our masks away. She said masks will only be mandatory on public transport, at airports, in hospitals and in disability care, prisons and aged care in Queensland. Density limits will also be scrapped for private homes, weddings and funerals, and there will be no limits in food courts, hairdressers, gyms, private venues and universities. A ban on school excursions, assemblies and interschool visits will also be ditched from 6 p.m. on the 4th of March. What is happening elsewhere? South Australia has reported 3 more coronavirus-related deaths and 1,378 new infections. SA Health says 3 men, aged in their 40s, 60s and 80s, have died after testing positive for COVID-19. There are 205 people in hospital, including 12 in intensive care, where 3 are on ventilators. Active infections in SA stand at 13,161. A man in his 80s has died with COVID-19 in the Northern Territory, taking the toll since the start of the pandemic to 16. The Territory reported another 716 new virus infections, with 123 patients in hospital with the disease and 3 of those are in intensive care. NT Chief Minister Michael Gunner has signalled the likely scrapping of check-ins at shops and other venues in upcoming reviews of virus restrictions. We are actively discussing moving on from the indoor mask mandates, he told ABC Radio on Tuesday. I can't give you a date yet, but it will be sooner rather than later. The ACT has recorded no new COVID-19 deaths, but hospitalisations have risen from 37 to 41. There is 1 patient in intensive care, while the ACT has recorded 583 new cases of COVID-19. In Tasmania, 820 new coronavirus cases were recorded, The island state as highest daily figure in a month.